It's hard to believe I'm saying this, but 2016 was a decade ago. A year filled with nothing but fidget spinners, great music, dabs, Vine, Pokemon Go, Rio de Janeiro filters people put up on their Instagram stories. Oh, and who can forget the Mannequin Challenge? But let's talk about the cars that came out during this era. Now, obviously, I can't name every single car that came out during this era, because well, it'll probably take me forever. But let's take a trip down memory lane and see what's made this era so fun. I'm not going to go in detail for every single car I mentioned, but for some I just will. Starting off with Audi, as during this time they came out with the Gen 2 R8. This generation, in my opinion, is the best R8, and I will fight this opinion to the grave. The R8 looked super futuristic for the time, and it aged extremely well without looking too aggressive like the later facelift did, and still kept the V10 from the previous generation. The styling is just perfect, and another Audi that people sometimes seem to forget is the TTRS. The TTR is a super underrated in its segment, and it's sad that the TTRS never got the attention it deserved during this era because it was a cute little coupe pushing 400 horsepower from a Turbo 5, which doesn't even exist today by the way, to all four wheels. Moving on to Alfa Romeo with the Giulia Quadrifoglio. I feel like the Giulia was such an underrated car in this segment, considering the fact that Mercedes and BMW have like the most popularity, but Alfa Romeo actually came into the competition with a really good car, as it had a twin-turbo V6 using parts from the Ferrari California, and it made around 500 horsepower. If you're lucky enough and you live literally anywhere but America, you could have gotten it with the manual as well, making it a really good option compared to the C63 and the M3. Now this time, we're going British, and no other company is as British as Aston Martin. Aston Martin's always been cooking good stuff, but this year they went over the top with motorsport stuff. The Vulcan became the track's first track-only hypercar, and later on they even came out with the Vantage GT12, a Vantage that looked like a GT3 race car, but with the V12. And also, speaking of V12s, the DB11 came out and marked a new era for Aston Martins as they switched from the natural aspirated V12s for twin-turbo V12s. Plus, they even had V8 versions with AMG engines, which kind of marked the start for the future between Mercedes and Aston Martin collabs. We can't have this list without having one of the most iconic car makers in the last 20 years, and that is Bugatti. To come up with a sequel to the Veyron is a Herculean task, and they couldn't mess it up. Luckily, the Chiron did not disappoint, as it was not only one of the fastest cars in the world when it came out, it still kept the same philosophy as the Veyron: fast, comfy, and beautiful. I don't think I need to read the specs, but here you go anyway. At an 8-liter quad-turbo W16, making 1500 horsepower, which is insane to think about. Did I also mention these things are around 2 million? Moving on to another brand under the VW umbrella, Bentley. People always forget that the Bentayga came out during this time, and it marked a huge change in the company, as it was the brand's first SUV. SUVs got super popular during this time, and the Bentayga capitalized it, as it sold like droves and it still does to this day. Now moving on to one of my favorite car brands, BMW. Seeing BMW today feels like I'm seeing the downfall of my favorite music artist, because when I look back to 2016, I can't help but think of that one meme from The Godfather. The M2 just launched and it was great, and the M4 GTS, although it was super expensive, has ugly wheels. It wasn't really that bad of a car as people made it out to be. And the i8 looked like it came out of the future with the i3 Twin, and the X6M honestly didn't look as bad. I know people were complaining about M cars going turbo, but now I look back at it and I kind of remind myself how good life used to be. Wait till you see Ford. Ford was having a generational run, I mean a crazy generational run, and it's something I'm still nostalgic about even to this day. It's not really my favorite car brand, but I feel like they had something for everyone. I can't believe in the span of a year, they let their performance division come out with the G350, F-150 Raptor, the Focus RS, the Focus ST, and the Fiesta ST, and the GT Supercar as well. I don't think this type of run will ever happen again, but I'm just so glad it happened and I got to witness it. Going to the House of the Raging Bulls, Lamborghini quite also had a nice year. The Aventador finally got the long-awaited SV treatment. Additionally, the Centenario came out and had the whole body made out of carbon fiber with barely any color. I mean, if I remember correctly, the only color you got was like those small little side skirts at the end. Real ones know that this was the cover car for Horizon 3, which was also a go-to game by the way. Taking a trip back to Germany, we got Mercedes. Mercedes was having one hell of a year, with Hamilton and Rosberg dominating the F1 world. They were also cooking with their cars too, as they transitioned over to new twin-turbo V8s, making stupid amounts of power. The Z63 looked like a German muscle car, and the GTS took the torch for being the S-Lux successor, which by any means was not an easy task, as the SLS had something special to it, whether it be the 6.3-liter V8 or the gullwing doors. Still nonetheless, it was a nicely equipped GT car. The GTR, however, took things to another level by basically becoming a GT3 RS rival with the widened body arches, less weight, and more power. I remember when it came out with that funky metallic green, and still don't know how they thought of it. It's not exactly a car video without Porsche, and Porsche couldn't stop cooking this year. The GT RS made its debut, and for the first time, the Cayman GT4 came out, both marking a new direction for the brand, as the GT RS became more technological and Cayman was taking a lot more seriously. The Panamera finally had a glow up, and with the new generation looked much better than the old one. 2016 was definitely one of the years to look back on as a car guy. So many of my dream cars debuted this year, and in general, 2016 was just an overall fun year. So what do you guys think? Is 2016 peak car, or is there any other year that's peak? What's your favorite car that came out during this year? Let us know in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more.